Let's quickly say good evening to our entire panel of guests joining us. Ranjan Bhattacharya is a political analyst, continues to be with us. He has a problem with the Election Commission looking for an 8-phase election in Bengal. If you're wondering why, we'll find out that from him in just a bit. Rajesh Pillai is a journalist. He's live from Trivandrum. Remember, Kerala is an interesting state because here we'll have to see whether the state is able to buck the trend of not repeating an incumbent. Will that happen? We do not know. Nani Mahanta is a political analyst from Guwahati. Guwahati again is a state that BJP won handsomely the last time around. Have the tables turned or the BJP still continues to maintain that lead will be interesting to watch out, and the analysis from Nani. S.G. Surya is a spokesperson of the BJP in Tamil Nadu, and Mr. Rajshekharan is a lawyer also from Chennai. And I think I want to go down first to Bengal. Then I'm going to come to Tamil Nadu. So, Mr. Rajshekharan, I'm just going to come back to you in a moment, sir. But to you first, Ranjan Bhattacharya, I heard that reaction that has also just come in from Sitaram Yechuri. He says, "Baki sab to theek hai, lekin Bengal mein itne lambe election kyun karne hain?" I mean, you really have to be living under a rock, Ranjan Bhattacharya, to not know what elections in Bengal really are. We've seen those images of political violence again and again and again. Is that not the truth, Mr. Bhattacharya?
Well, I like to make one point very clear that so far as West Bengal is concerned and the ruling party is concerned under Mamata Banerjee, irrespective of the fact when, how you are going to announce the election, ignoring the state government request and Trinamool's request. I like to tell you one thing that, it doesn't matter much to Trinamool as a political party and Mamata Banerjee, simply because of the fact that we are very confident that the next election, 2021, is definitely going in favor to elect Mamata Banerjee as the third Chief Minister, third time successful Chief Minister.
But then why do complain? Why do complain? I do not understand then what this complaining business is all about. And Ranjan Bhattacharya, I'm not sure if you heard that reaction that came in from Sitaram Yechuri. He actually said that this is not Mamata versus all. This is all versus the BJP. So that is the situation of Mamata Banerjee right now. But before you opine on that, I want to take this to Mr. Rajshekharan, who's joining us on the broadcast from Chennai. Mr. Rajshekharan, what is your reading of what's going to be happening in Tamil Nadu? Considering that no one thought after the demise of Jayalalitha that an EPS and OPS would be able to carry on for so long, but they did. Now, is the state ready to move away from the Dravidian cult? Would there be a possibility of looking at new permutations and combinations in the state?
I would like to thank BJP India and Prime Minister Modi and Home Minister Amit Shah for ensuring that EPS and OPS survived for 4 years. If they had, definitely nobody would have the guts or the courage to oppose the powerful BJP, which rightly the Tamil Nadu ADMK wisely thought, and they listened to whatever they wanted to do, and now they are aligned with BJP. They are alliance partners for the elections. But fact of the matter is, at ground, majority, I'm talking about the whole of Tamil Nadu, there is an anti-BJP mood and there is an anti-Modi wave. Definitely it is there. That is the reason why Go Back Modi is always trending. Though I have personally nothing against the Prime Minister and BJP. But I just want to speak what is the ground reality in Tamil Nadu. BJP and Congress have nothing much to do in politics or at the ground in Tamil Nadu. Both Congress and BJP, I weigh them in the same scale. But without DMK and ADMK, they cannot survive. But 10 years of anti-incumbency is going to hit hard on ADMK. And if they would have been really serious, they would have united ADMK to fight the DMK's success, stop the success or victory for DMK. Now it is advantage DMK because 10 years of anti-incumbency and the anti-BJP mindset of the majority voters, rural voters, though urban voters may like BJP. I am not saying they don't, the whole Tamil Nadu is not against BJP, but majority Out of 100%, 80% are against BJP. That is the mindset. So going by that logic, whatever has happened in the past, only with the blessings of BJP it had happened. But in the future, this election, if it is done
But where
with
is
a free and
Sasikala?
fair
Where is Sasikala
format
then,
which the
Mr.
Election Commission has
Rajshekharan, in the middle of
announced
all this? And why aren't you sounding so convincing? You know, this
See,
is
I'll
obviously
tell
then
you-
the DMK's biggest challenge, because 10 years out of power obviously will mean a lot for MK Stalin now. And this is an election without Jayalalitha. This is an election
Yes.
without Karunanidhi. So things have obviously changed now.
Yes, see, last election 2016, it was some 1% of difference throughout Tamil Nadu. Almost in 20 assembly constituencies, it was 500 to 1000 votes difference, which the ADMK won. Of course, again, I want to reiterate, whoever has the blessings of BJP would survive in the past. But in the future, this election, after the post-election, even DMK may align with BJP. No wrong, it is politics. But BJP is doing the right politics. They are arm twisting. They are using all their might
Then
to get everything
where
in
is
the
the
right
ideology,
perspective.
no, Mr.
I really
Rajshekharan?
appreciate the
Isn't that a
BJP
very
for
revealing
doing
comment? And I
politics
think
in the right
Mr.
sense.
S.G. Surya would want to come in on that. Is that not? He's already smiling. See, he's already smiling. At first instance, Mr. Rajshekharan says, listen, BJP is no player. Then he says कि BJP के साथ DMK भी आ सकता है. So what is going on here? You're confusing the voter. But what about you, S.G. Surya?
See,
the DMK.
no. See, BJP is using all their. Yes, sorry.
Yeah.
SG Surya first, yeah.
My point is the DMK has been out of power for the last 10 years. If they are so confident of winning, why don't they contest alone? They are still depending on large alliances to contest the elections. So that tells us the story that the DMK front is not at advantage. Yes, we agree in the Lok Sabha polls we polled very badly. But after the Lok Sabha polls, there were by-elections for 2 assembly constituencies and also for the Lok Sabha seat Vellore. So wherein we have performed exceedingly well. So the anti-Modi wave was restricted only to the 2019 elections. In Tamil Nadu, we are looking to come back to power again, and that is why DMK is jittery, and every day it is complaining about the BJP. And when it comes to BJP, we all know in the last 6 years what was BJP in the North.
It is wrong. You are giving a wrong information to the viewers.
Yeah, please
that
let
is
me
not the
complete.
ground.
So we know,
That is not the ground reality.
change. We know the turnaround.
No,
of
you are giving a
BJP
false story, false narrative.
Let me complete, please. Let me have my time. So, we have seen Telangana, we have seen Assam, we have seen northeastern states where BJP could make a turnaround in less than 5 years. So, Tamil Nadu will also be our state in few years to come. And for this elections, we are supporting and aligning with the AIDMK, and we are sure of coming back to power again.
And what about Sasikala? Let me ask that question also to S.G. Surya, because he can't duck that question, no, Mr. Rajshekharan. Before I come into Nani Mahanta, because Assam again is a key state that we want to look at. But S.G. Surya, what about Sasikala?
I'll answer that.
Do you want
I'll
her
answer that
to
question.
actually support the
I'll
ADMK
answer
to
that.
fight
I'll
the
answer
DMK?
that.
Mr. Rajshekharan, 1 second, sir.
On Sasikala,
Surya.
our party has maintained a consistent stand. The problem between Sasikala and the AIDMK is their internal affairs. We do not have anything to comment about that. So we play no role in that. We play no role at all in that. For now,
No one agrees with you. No one agrees with you, Mr. Rajshekharan.
We are in alliance with the AIDMK headed by EPS and OPS. And everything else is the internal affairs of
whether
AIDMK.
Surya is living in Tamil Nadu or he living in Alice in Wonderland. I really doubt where he is living, his survival. See, the whole Tamil Nadu, the whole India knows who is Sasikala, how these people were made whatever they are today. All were ordinary people. They were handpicked by Sasikala. Of course, it was a political case filed against ADMK and Jayalalitha, and Jayalalitha was convicted along with Sasikala, because 120B criminal conspiracy was added to the offence of disproportionate asserts case and Prevention of Corruption Act, because only the people in public office will be attracted on that section. So the whole scenario is open. So what this BJP spokesperson is trying to make a story or a narrative that they don't know anything, they are the most innocent political party in the world and they are very honest.
आपने अपनी आंखों से देखा है अब इसमें कहीं दो मत नहीं है।
All right, we are just dipped in to listen into that reaction, Mr. Rajshekharan, that is coming in from the Raksha.
कौन सा आपने दिया है, कैसा खेला होगा?
खेला होगा कि माने हम शांति स्थापित करेंगे, हम बंगाल का विकास करेंगे, यही खेला होगा।
सर, बहुत करप्शन के आरोप है सरकार पे, आपको लगता है जनता आपकी बार जवाब?
नहीं, आपने देखा नहीं पब्लिक मीटिंग में किस तरीके का रिस्पांस लोगों के द्वारा मिल रहा था।
All right, we heard into that reaction once more. Apologies to all my guests, because there'll be a lot more reactions coming in. So do allow that much of time because we want to directly cut to that, Mr. Rajshekharan. But let's move for a moment from Tamil Nadu. The two important states that we want to discuss, the state of Assam and the state of Kerala. And then, yes, I do know that Ranjan Bhattacharya also wants to come in. But Mr. Bhattacharya, we'll talk about Bengal in just a bit, sir. If you just be patient for another minute, I want to take this then to Nani. Nani, in Assam, the BJP won handsomely the last time around. The Congress is putting a rejuvenated fight. What's happening on ground zero? Which really do you believe are the issues on which the voters will be voting?
Well, good evening to all my esteemed panelists. Well, regarding the scenario in Assam, if you look at BJP, for last election, I mean, if you take the 2014 election onwards in Assam, BJP has been consistently increasing its foothold in Assam in general, particularly, and in other states of Northeast India. I do not want to talk about Northeast India, but if you talk about Assam, in all the elections, whether it is 2016, it got the absolute majority along with other NDA partners. Then 2019, it has, increased its vote share substantially. Particularly, it has become victorious in 67 constituencies. Again in Panchayat election, again in the autonomous elections of Tiwa Autonomous Council, in the 6th Scheduled Council election in BTAD, BJP became victorious along with NDA, allies. So the point that I'm trying to say is that day by day, BJP has been enhancing its vote base in Assam. But in contrast to BJP, if we look at Congress, they have now come to an alliance with AIDF, and AIDF is very strong in the East Bengal origin Muslim areas, particularly in Lower Assam. But, although they have gained some amount of seats, maybe 35 seats in the Lower Assam, around 31 to 35 seats, but having done so, in the process, they have actually alienated many other voters in Upper Assam. They have alienated many other voters in the Barak Valley. So today, although Congress is giving the slogan that let's save Assam, I think there are few buyers in the state, and in the process, along with the developmental agenda, along with ideological premise and their organizational strength, I believe BJP is going very strong in Assam, and the kind of developmental politics right from whether it is medical colleges, whether it is engineering colleges, Ujjwala scheme, direct benefit scheme, even in the minority areas, BJP has been able to make a strong dent.
Okay.
But having said so, I do not want to say that it will be easy cake for BJP, because when it talk about Congress or AIDF, they will begin with 35-40 seats. Because of the population structure, because of the dynamics of our entire demography, Congress and AIDF begins with 35-40 seats.
Okay.
But BJP is a very formidable player. They have the ideological cohesion, they have the developmental politics, plus the whole demographic dynamics, particularly in the tea garden areas among the caste Hindus people, Bengali Hindus, and also in the Barak Valley. Their strong foothold will help BJP to provide a very strong fight in the coming election. That is how I look at it.
Okay, I think, Mr. Mahanta, that's a very comprehensive analysis. Assam is looking at elections that will go into 3 phases. And before we, hit a break, I just want one brief comment in 30 seconds from Rajesh Pillai, who's a journalist from Trivandrum. Rajesh, you mentioned the local body polls. The local body polls walked in favor of Pinarayi Vijayan. Do you think he might just be able to buck the trend of Kerala not repeating an incumbent? 30 seconds.
Not really, because traditionally in local body elections, left front always was winning. So that pattern may not happen in a Lok Sabha poll or even in an assembly poll. That varies according to polls. So local body elections, they have a grassroots level cadre party, so that reflects. But in other elections like assembly and Lok Sabha, there are many other factors that are taken into account by the voters. That is my observation.
All right, but I'm sure this is not the last word. Remember, it's just the beginning of the election season, and as we always say here at Republic, this is the Election News Headquarters.